Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Express, which is becoming everyone's favorite talk show. It is profoundly real and interesting, so without any further delay, please help me welcome back to the stage the beautiful and expressive director of Express, Carolyn. Carolyn, take it away.
Hello, 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 and welcome everyone. Welcome to Express Talk Show. This is your host, Carolyn. Today is yet another day to hear a compelling story from the couple, great couple that we have here, Moncrieffe. You have doctors Orlando and Maureen Moncrieffe. Now, this is our second episode with them. So, I would recommend that you go back and watch the first episode so you can have a full understanding of their story. So, but before I go on any further, though, just remember to subscribe, and um, subscribe, and so that you will be able to get a full content of each of the episodes that we put out there. All right, we're about to ask the Moncriefs to come on into our studio. Welcome.
Thank you.
You all are troopers. I'm telling you, you know, audience, sometimes you come and you're about to do an interview, would never know what happens in the background just before we come out. But these two, they were so patient with us, and here they are to hear the second part of their story, episode 2. Hello, how are you all?
We're
We're
doing
doing
fine,
fine.
thank you.
That's good. Thank you so much for being here. Now, last time we ended when we end the last conversation, we spoke about you getting married and then having children. So let's start from there this time. Let's start from your
Okay.
first child,
So actually, we
where you
had
were, that sort of.
first children
Oh, it was a twin you
because
had the first?
our first pregnancy was a set of twins,
Oh, I didn't
boy and
realize
a
it was the
girl.
first. Okay, go ahead.
So we had a first set, a boy and girl, and then we had a single girl, and then we had a second set of twins, two boys.
Mercy.
So the first set, boy and girl, let me tell you, when I was in the hospital after I had the twins, I was sorely, sorely disappointed because they did not look like uh, each other. And I'm saying they're twins. Why aren't they looking alike?
Maternal.
Fraternal twins, yes. Yes. So and it turns out that I only have fraternal twins. None of
Oh, okay.
none of my twins is
Identical.
identical. Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. So it was a struggle at first, but let me tell you, I got so accustomed to taking care of two that when the single girl came, I had no clue what to do with this one baby. What am I doing with this one baby? And of course, she came very quickly after the first set of twins. So it's like I had three babies, but I was so accustomed to taking care of two, you know, that
Mhm,
taking
mhm.
care of one now was, I didn't know, I was so
Back home,
confused.
the Jamaica, they would say that was butter, huh? Well, tell me now. Tell me how the both of you worked that out. Having the
Well,
twins, did one
initially,
sleep and one? Tell me. Tell
in,
us.
initially when they were just born,
Yes.
actually we lived in Brownstown
Uh-huh.
and St. Anne, and I had the babies in Kingston at Andrews Hospital.
Okay.
So after I came out of the hospital, I stayed at my grandmother's house for a while, and Pastor would come and from Brownstown to come and visit,
Mm.
and during the night, let me tell you, the boy and girl twins we had, right? The boy was like a clock. Every hour he was awake. The girl would want to sleep a little longer, but she couldn't sleep because of the screaming the boy put down.
What's the boy's name?
He has his name. He's a junior, Orlando
Oh,
Moncrieffe Jr.
okay. Junior,
And the
okay.
girl is Noel.
Noel, okay.
Hmm. So that that was hard in the beginning. And then the boy took to a soother, a pacifier.
I was gonna ask, did you breastfeed or what?
Never breastfed those two. They rejected the breast. Those two
Okay,
rejected the breast. Never breastfed them. The boy took to a pacifier, but the girl did not.
okay.
But if the and he would fall asleep with the pacifier in his mouth. But if the pacifier fell
Fell
out,
out.
I had to get up before he woke up in the next hour because he was like clockwork, hunt for the pacifier
Uh,
and stick it back in his mouth that way.
so he wouldn't wake up his
So,
sister.
yes, he would wake up, and if the pacifier was there, he would bawl blue murder, and oh, it was something else.
So where did you fit into that place, Pastor Orlando? Where did you fit in that?
Well, my memory is primarily when she came to Brownstown.
Okay.
I mean, there was the four of us there now together. Because as far as I remember it, they would never wake up at the same time.
Really?
They would take turns about an hour apart.
Yes.
And so you wake up and you feed this one. Then another hour you wake up and you feed the other one. So what we eventually did, I don't remember how long it took us to get to that, is that I would stay up one night
I don't remember
and
that.
take care of them, and then she'd stay up on another
That
time
I think he's
and take it.
mistaking that with the last set of twins. That is what you did with Marlon and Wentworth, not Noel and Lance.
Okay. So what did he do really then, since you remember?
Well, you want me to tell you something? That
Tell me.
was when I came home with the babies. He was very sick because
Oh,
he was asthmatic
okay.
and he was having a terrible bout of asthma at the time when we came home. He couldn't even come for us. We had to get what's his name? No, Brother Gallimore,
Okay.
who lived across the street from us.
That's Nibble Gallimore.
Neville Gallimore, who
Okay.
lived across the street from us, to pick us up, pick me up with the babies in Kingston, and take us home to Brownstown. When I went home, he was terribly sick with asthma.
Oh
So
dear.
he really couldn't help initially, when we just got home, because now I had him to take care of,
Yes.
plus the twins.
Okay. You think
And
you
they
were a little
never,
nervous them coming home, Pastor?
Not really. I was eager to have them come home. I really
Okay.
was. First child, with first children.
Children, yes,
I
yes,
was
yes.
eager to have them come home. But yes, I was very, very sick with asthma.
Oh, I'm sorry to
And to
hear.
her credit, she would stay up with me sometimes almost for the whole night.
Oh,
But when I got, from my memory, when I got a little better, then later on, somewhere down the line, we sort of took turns. But apparently, she doesn't remember it quite that way.
yeah, yeah.
we did that with Marlon and Wentworth in
Yes.
the
Mm.
Okay.
Pastor and
So
Wentworth.
so then you had your second
Yes, so
child.
very quickly after we had this a second baby, which was a single girl,
Uh-huh.
and I was totally confused. I had no clue what to do with this one baby because up till now I'm accustomed to taking care of two.
Twin. Yes, yes.
Yes, to me, taking care of two was the norm.
Okay.
You
But you
understand?
were
So
so
here,
fortunate to have two sets of twins. You have a twin in your family, or Pastor has a twin in his family?
after I had the first set, I found out that my mother had twin granduncles,
Oh, okay.
or I had twin granduncles, something like that. There was something about twin granduncles on my mother's side.
Just your side?
Yes, just my side.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, the man really has nothing to do with it. He's capable of having 3,000 children at a time. The limitation is a woman who usually has only one egg at a time. So we have nothing to do with twins. So I can't beat
okay.
myself on the chest and say, oh, I am such a virile man. No. It's just a matter
So
of the
then you
woman
can
and how
look to hear. Have you had any grandchildren yet as twins?
No.
no,
Not yet. Not yet. All
no,
right.
not
Okay.
yet.
All right. So we've sorted out the twin situation. So you were at that address with all your children that you had at that address, or did you move?
Um, we had this second pregnancy took place in Brownstown also
Okay. Yeah, you
because she
said that.
came very quickly. Yes, and then 6.5 years after her,
Okay.
I had the second set of twins, and this time we were in Spanish Town
Okay. Okay.
because he was working at he was at the
Conference office.
conference office
Hmm.
at the time
And
when
you
I
were
had the
just
second set.
you were at home taking care of the
And
family, yes? Or you started working then?
no, I always worked.
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach at
Put Maria.
Willardine. I taught at Port Maria High School. Well, we didn't have any babies there. I mean, we lived in Port Maria, but I did not have any birth there. But
Okay.
the first set of twins and the single girl grew up in Port Maria. They spent some time in Port Maria, and then we moved from Port Maria to Spanish Town, where I had the last set of twins.
Okay. Okay.
This time I was teaching at Willardine High School.
Okay. How did you find teaching, having the children, pastor? Because, I know the audience haven't heard the full story of what you all have done. And now I think I should give you that chance to let the audience know, what you've accomplished so far. Starting with Pastor, go ahead.
Okay. I graduated from Western College in
Okay.
1968, and my science background caught up with me. They assigned me to teach mathematics from Form 1 to Form 5
Hmm.
at Maypen High School. So I was the associate pastor for the church doing my internship there, but my real main responsibility was teaching mathematics at the school. And then when she graduated in 69, she came to teach at Willardine High School. But
No,
no, I mean at
okay.
Maypen High School. And so that's how that piece went. And then we got married while she was teaching at Maypen High School, and I was still the assistant pastor, the intern for Maypen. Then we left in January 2000, um,
No, 1970.
1970 to go to Brownstown.
Hmm.
And the three children were born while we were in
That's
Brownstown.
good.
I left in 1972 to become principal for Port Maria High School. Spent
Mm.
2 years there, didn't have any children there,
Okay.
and
And
then
you were
went
working
on.
still, Miss? You were working still,
She's
Yes.
a teacher, yes,
Maureen. Okay.
she taught there, yes.
All right. Go ahead.
And so I became the education director for the conference. And so I moved to Spanish Town. It's while we were in Spanish Town that the last twins were born. So
Okay.
I spent 3 years in Spanish Town, and the last twins were born in 77 while we were in Spanish Town.
Okay.
And then I left and became pastor of the Mandeville SDA Church, and also pastored for a short time the Portmore Church. It was not the big Portmore church it is now. We didn't even have a church building at the time.
Hmm.
So they've really grown quite a bit. And then in 1980, I was called to teach at West Indies College, having completed my master's degree in 79. And so I spent some time there. And then I went to do my doctorate at Duke University and came back. All this time, my dear wife here took care of the education of all of her 6 children, the five that she gave birth to, and this one. And it's interesting, and I give her credit for this all the time, that she held back and waited for all the children to graduate. She graduated with her bachelor's degree the same time as our youngest son.
Oh
That she
yeah.
told how patient she was and waited. And so after that, we went to teach at Atlantic Union College. By the way, at Caribbean Union College in Trinidad, where we went and worked for a while from 94 to 98. I
Four
served
years.
there as, yeah,
Four
yes,
years, yeah.
yes, I served there as assistant academic dean, and also as vice president for student services. And then I went on to Atlantic Union College, and there I was academic dean and also vice president for student services. After a while, I spent 7 years there.
Oh,
And there she was not so much in teaching, she was more in administration. You can tell us some of the things she did at Atlantic Union College.
okay.
At Atlantic Union College, I worked in the enrollment department,
Mm,
and this you had to plan events, to bring students in and to be able to send invitations out to students at different areas, different
mm.
schools, and
You're
so on.
recruiting,
So,
recruiting.
yeah, recruiting. Yes, and hold we would host students on campus also, to recruit students. So that was what I was involved in
Okay.
while at AUC.
So
Let me
you,
just back up a little bit.
okay, that's all right.
When I
Go
was
ahead.
called to Caribbean Union College, I was called, she had to come as a student. It was a very strange situation. Trinidad has some strange procedures that I won't go into right now. So, what would ordinarily have been a disadvantage and a setback became good for her because she had to do classes. In order to remain in the country, she had to do classes.
Yes.
And that was how she went on eventually got her bachelor's degree while working full time. She has never taken time off to go to school. And she has her bachelor's degree, two master's degrees, and a doctorate. So I give her kudos for that
Of
all the time,
course.
all the time. She
For
never
the
ever,
both
I
of
took
you
3 years
too.
off, but she never took any time off. She was always, always, always working.
All this reluctantly because my thing was I want to see everybody finish. I
Finish.
want to see him finish, and I wanted to see the boys. By this time, the last set of twins, especially when we were in Jamaica, they were getting ready to sit their GCEs, their O
Mm,
levels,
yes.
and the three older ones had started college, and gone on. So they're finishing. The three older ones are finishing. I said, fine. Now the two last ones, I got to focus on them. So when he would go to school during summers, I would see to it that the two last ones, get prepped for their O levels.
You help them.
Oh yeah, got them tutors and
Did you
and all
teach them
that.
at school? Were they homeschooled?
I did I did not teach the um the last set of twins. The older three I taught they did not go to school formally until second grade
Okay.
because I taught them at home
Yeah, it
up to
sounds like
second
you would
grade,
do that.
and then they went on. But the last twins got more out of me in the end part when they were getting ready to sit their O levels because I made sure that at every opportunity they either sat some subjects, like for instance, I would let them do English and health science 1 year. The next year I would let them do history, get that out of,
Mm.
under their belt. And then the next year, so from third form, they were sitting O levels from third
Wow.
form. So that
Wow.
by the time they were in fifth form, they did not have a lot of subjects to concentrate on.
I hope they're watching this because maybe they forgot.
No, they don't forget.
Oh, Lord. I'm
The
telling
last ones,
you.
they don't forget. No, no. They had a great math teacher too. Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes, she was really Hazel Williams. She's deceased now, but she was
Yes.
a very good math tutor, a math teacher and math tutor. And my boys benefited from that, really.
That's good. And I remember one of the degrees that you have is in reading. Or
Right.
tell me more about it.
Yes.
I'm very curious about that.
Well, reading is my passion
Okay.
because I taught my kids to read.
Before she
And
had been trained to teach to read.
right. Yes. before I was trained, but so I taught them to read.
Mhm.
And you get a sense of satisfaction knowing that your child can read from a young age.
Yes, yes.
So I bombarded them with books. If I could get back the money that I spent on books when my five children were small, I would not be retiring in this poverty level that I am at right now. I'd be very rich. However, I bombarded them with books and taught them. I would go to work, teach during the day, and I would come back home, and in the evenings I would teach them. So I taught them to read. So that was innate in me.
Yes.
So when I did the first master's in curriculum and instruction, it didn't give me what I was looking for, and I was introduced. That we had one subject there that introduced me to students who you call it
special ed.
special ed.
Mhm, mhm.
I like special ed also, and I
Me
and
too. Me
and
too.
I love the reading. So I wanted to do a combination of special ed and the reading, because sometimes the kids in special ed, they're there because they don't have that one-on-one,
Yes. You'll be
especially in the
surprised to know
Seventh
what
Day
they can do.
Yes,
Yes, if they get the time.
especially in the Seventh Day Adventist schools.
Mhm.
We don't cater to special ed students. Our teachers
Well, that's your challenge.
are not trained to deal with special ed students. So that is why I wanted to do the special ed and the
Yes.
reading. And Fitchburg College offered a master's in that, but it turned out that we had to move. We
Oh.
moved from Massachusetts in 2005, because I finished the first master's in 2004, and so in 2005 we had to move, so I had to scrap that.
Mm.
And so since I couldn't find a combination program in another online program, so I ended up just doing reading, and I totally enjoyed that. And let me tell you, my students have really benefited from that. I don't like people who blow their horn, but their own horn, but
Now is the time to do so. That's why you're here. Come on. And
however,
once while you're doing it, someone is going to be listening and going to be inspired. That's why I
okay,
need you to tell whatever you love about it. You explain. Then maybe go back and
yes.
do the research.
So it turns out that the students who I taught in pre-K and kindergarten, especially kindergarten, when they left me to go to first grade, they were already reading, some of them at a third grade level.
Wow.
They were reading fluently, so that the first grade teacher would not have a problem, teaching and
And have
explaining
to,
things to
yes,
them.
yes, yes,
No,
yes,
all my kindergarten students went into first grade reading at a third grade level.
yes. S- s-
And I made sure to do that because if a child gets to third grade and cannot read fluently, it's very difficult for them to catch up again. They'll
yeah.
always be behind. Very difficult. I'm not saying that you may not find some who will focus and, get it going. But more times than not, it's very difficult for that third grade student who cannot read properly
Mm,
to make it through. I mean, they will pass through, but by the time they get to grade 12, it's just the brains that they were using to fool the teachers. They can't read. They
mm.
can't read properly. So I made sure that all my students were able to read fluently, comprehend what they read with expression so that you can understand what they're
What they're
reading.
saying, yeah.
Yes, they themselves can understand, and someone listening to them can understand the story that they're reading. So that was my focus.
Okay.
And then When I left this school and opened my own school, I did the same thing,
Yes.
the same thing. To make sure that when they left me at 5 or 6 to start first grade, they all were reading.
Wow.
Every last one.
So, what would be your advice to parent, especially maybe a single parent? What would be your focus? Would you encourage them to focus on teaching them how to read?
Of course, and listen, my dissertation was based on parent involvement
Okay.
at home.
Yes.
What is the parent doing with the child and for the child
Child.
at home
Mhm.
regarding reading?
Wow.
That's what my dissertation was about. So it's something that's heavy on my heart because I realize that there are some students who the parents just don't pay attention to anything, don't do anything for them at home, and
Mhm.
think that because you are the teacher in the classroom,
Yeah.
it's your responsibility solely to
Mm-mm.
teach the child.
No, no, it
You know
couldn't be, especially if it's a lot of students. It's very hard to do so.
exactly.
As you're talking about reading, I remember going through, I don't remember if it was where I was reading, and I saw where during the COVID period, you had people, they were paying people to read to the elderly and to children, because
Mhm.
of course the elderly didn't have many people coming into them. So
Right.
they had people reading stories to them. This is something you maybe could start since you're so enthused about it. No,
Yeah,
seriously. And you get
parents.
other people to work with you.
Yes, and there are so many things that parents can do. You don't
Mhm.
have to sit down with a child and say, "Okay, I'm going to teach you reading now," and you sit down for an hour and teach a child. You don't have to do that.
What would you
You
recommend?
can, you can play games with the child,
Hmm.
learning letters. You can put letters up on your fridge or on the cupboard doors or whatever, and play. I these games that they have. I see a thing.
Yes.
Let's say I see a T. Can
Yes.
you find the T? I
Yes.
see a B. Can
Yes.
while you are cooking or while
Mm-hmm.
you're cleaning, the child can do that. So you don't have to really sit down and do that. If you're driving, the child is in the
Car.
back seat, in the car seat, and you're driving. Oh, colors. What
Signs.
what color car
Um,
is that?
mhm.
Yes. Is that a black car or a blue car? Is that a green car? Or, you can teach colors while you're driving.
Yes.
You can teach when the child gets older and can put sounds together. You can play games in the car while you're driving or even at home while you're cleaning or cooking or, whatever it is that you're doing. So, I mean, there's so many different things that parents can do at home. You don't have to sit down and actually teach them. And the
Yes.
other thing is you need to read to your child.
Yes.
If make it a habit every night.
Stories, bedtime
Yes,
story.
read a story, a Bible story or another story from another book. Read, read, read. And books are not that expensive. You can go into dollar store and find myriad of different types of books for kids that
Yes.
age level.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
I firmly believe that when the children are taught properly and they have a good foundation at that level, you won't have a problem later on.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So let me ask Pastor now. During your ministry, tell me some of the challenges. Do you want to tell me um, what you found very challenging while you did your ministry? Maybe one. I'm sure there's many.
Yeah, well, across the 51 years that I was in ministry, I pastored 53 churches
Uh-huh.
because I started out in 68 with 12 churches and three companies, 15 congregations. That's the way it was back then. It was not until I came to the States that I was pastoring one church or at most two churches.
Yes.
So that was a little strange for me. Having gone to Western College to teach, I ended up teaching for 25 years in our college system in the religion department, preparing men and women for ministry
Yes.
from 1970 until 2000 and not 19, yeah, 1970 until 2005. So it was quite a little stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went back, left Atlanta College, I went back into pastoral ministry with the Allegheny East Conference and pastored there for 14 years before I retired. The biggest challenge for me in preparing men and women for ministry was that when I entered ministry, the pastors understood they had to visit their members and work with them. That was a major thing.
Mm-hmm.
Over the 25 years, I saw individuals coming in who thought preaching was the only thing they had to do. So once they can preach, they're all right. And I had a lot of work to do to get them to realize that preaching is just one little piece of this whole. It might be what they see most on Sabbath or whenever they
Mm-hmm.
go to church, but that was not the major. So I ended up learning to share my experiences with these young people. And they were very, very impressed with some of the experiences that I shared because it was different from what they were expecting
Mm-hmm.
ministry to be. So that was a very, very important part of it. And as I look back over the years, although I loved pastoring to death, seeing the pastors that I helped to teach go on and do well has been very, very important to
I'm
me. I
sure.
remember going to see the president of the Jamaica Union one day about 8 years ago. He said, Doc, do you realize that you're running the whole of the old West Indies Union? I said, what do you mean by that? He said, look, we have two union presidents, they're your students. We have 8 conference presidents, they're your students. You're running the whole place, Doc. I had never even thought about that. But it
Uh-huh.
means a lot to me to know that students that pass through my hands, I'm not saying I was responsible for making what happened with them happen, but it really
Give them the
brings
foundation. Yeah.
so that had something to do with that. So my experience in working for the Lord has been very, very blessed. I would not be where I am had it not been for what He had done in bringing Adventism to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt dedicated to bring Adventism to everyone with whom I came in contact. And that included helping pastors do a better job at bringing individuals to a knowledge of the Advent message. So that has been essentially it for me. And now that we have, and I keep telling folk, that my wife is getting a little old now because she has 3 grandchildren in their 20s. They say, what about you, Pastor? I say, I'm too young for that. And the children gave us a beautiful session at the
Yes, I
Lord.
saw. I
Yes,
saw.
yes, yes,
That
yes,
was
yes,
beautiful. That was
yes,
nice.
yes.
I
It
saw
was
you
for
all.
our 75th. I was 75 in April,
in
in
November.
November, and she was 75 in April. So
April
then
born
there
like
were
you.
19 members of the Moncrieffe clan present at that, and some
Oh,
other individuals as well. So we had a great time.
yeah.
It
It's
has been
good
a
to have
wonderful
those
ride.
occasions like that, Really, really is. It makes a difference. Makes a difference.
Yes.
So, both of you, how many times did you have you moved during your ministry?
Oh
Because I
boy.
know I know when you moved to Florida, and as I
Yes.
really looked at it, I said, they're moving to Florida. And I was thinking, wow, you're so, adventure, you're really, really creative to be thinking
Yeah,
of
yeah.
moving at
Yes.
such
Well,
a age. But obviously, you all enjoyed it.
yes, we
You all
have.
enjoyed it.
We have. And we have actually worked in every parish in Central Jamaica Conference. And that gives us a breadth of understanding of what is going on. So that has been very, very helpful.
Mm,
In Jamaica, you spend usually 2 to
Two or
3
three
years
years in one.
in a church.
in a church, yes.
That's also, or in a circuit where you have 6 to 8, and one time I had 15 congregations. When I came to work in the US, I had one church, but I stayed there for 9 years and 2 months.
9 years.
nine
Wow.
years and 2 months. So it was quite a different kind of situation. what has broadened my understanding of ministry and what it's about. And I had to learn the new ways of dealing with people.
Be
But
flexible.
the
Yes.
part of it never left me. I want to visit you and talk to you face to face.
Oh,
That is just me.
yes.
It doesn't matter that we have all kinds of other means of communication. That
Face
is
to
my
face. You like that.
yes, yes, yes. I love that.
So
I love
tell me, how did you like the moves, sis?
Well, you know, you get accustomed to moving every 2 or 3 years because so it was in my system. As soon as 2 or 3 years come, you know, you have to pack up and go somewhere else.
Hmm.
Well, when we came to Teaneck, when 3 years came, I don't hear anything about moving. I see him quite comfortable at this church. I said, when are we getting out of here?
it.
After 3 years, I need to move on somewhere else. But it never happened. You know, we ended up there for nine
9 years.
years, which
Yes.
was strange to me because I was not accustomed to that, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And even when he was in education, in administration, we didn't stay in one place for 9 years.
Mm.
You know, he was at West Indies College for a little bit, and then he went to CUC. We were there for 4 years, not bad,
Mhm.
you know, and then you go to AUC. We were there for little 7 years. So I mean, but but somehow in Massachusetts when we're at AUC, that felt like home to me,
Mm.
and that is where my heart is. I would move
Okay.
back to
Be
Massachusetts.
careful, sis. Be careful.
You see what I'm going through?
Oh dear, oh dear. You're
I
too
don't know why
funny,
there
both of
felt
you.
like home more than anywhere else, but
Yes. So now you're in Florida. Tell me some of the exciting things you're doing there.
well, I have some children here in Florida.
Yes.
They're all green. I have my vegetable garden
Okay.
that I tend, and nothing gets in the way of my vegetable garden. I have to have time with it. In the mornings, I get up and I know what I left outside last night, but I don't know what I expect to see
See when you
differently in
wake
the
up.
morning. But I
Mm.
still have to go out and look and see what happened overnight and so on. You know, so
What has
it's
that done for you?
satisfying.
What has that done for you?
It is so satisfying, and I feel I feel free and just at home, you know, in the garden. Once
Mm.
I'm out there, I mean, there's so many things to do, you know.
Yes, yes.
You have to prune this, you have to put food on this one, you have to do that, water this, and this. It's just a lot of things to do to
Yes.
keep them going. You know, you can't just plant them and leave them. They
Mm,
need
of
tending to
course.
just,
Of
yes,
course.
it need tending to. So it gives me a lot of satisfaction.
Uh,
And I particularly like to see things grow from seed. I
yes.
don't have
Me
anything
too.
against anybody
Me
who
too.
goes to Lowe's or Home Depot or a
Yes.
nursery and buy starter plants because sometimes I do buy a starter plant if my seeds aren't germinating properly.
Mm.
But I like to sow the seed, watch them come up, you know, and so on. I like to do that.
That's my dream. One of these days that I'll be able to do that. So how does Pastor help you? He sort of hands you the
He
tools.
plants, I reap, I eat. It's
That's what
divided
you do. You
responsibility.
Oh boy. That must be really, really good though, to be able to know that you're
Oh,
eating from
yes.
your garden.
Oh,
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
just one
yeah.
of my dreams one day. I really would love to do that.
And
Yes.
then sometimes I take pictures. Like I took a picture this morning of it wasn't I don't think it was a lot. It wasn't a lot. I had some banana peppers and some other kind of sweet peppers and some tomatoes and sweet and what else? Tomatoes and and some bell peppers. And I took a picture and posted it, you know, in a garden group on Facebook. So we do that and encourage each other, you know,
Mother.
in our
Yes.
different groups.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It does encourage. It does. be encouraged.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, any challenges since you've been to Florida that you want to share?
Um,
Either of you.
I,
Well, we're not exactly string chickens anymore, so there are little health issues here and there. But
Okay.
apart from my having to be hospitalized for about 2 days, we have
Really?
been doing very, yes,
Okay.
yes. I had a
Mm.
mild stroke back in
Oh,
2019, right? Yeah,
19
yeah,
and 20.
yeah. Yeah, I
okay.
had a mild stroke, but
Well,
the
thank
Lord has
God you
been good.
recovered it. Yeah, you
The Lord has been
recovered. We
good.
wouldn't know at all. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So what would your now you've come we're coming to the end of the this episode right now. From the both of you, three each. Whichever topic you want to choose that you want to talk about. Three advice to anyone out there
Oh,
regarding that topic that you will choose.
Ladies first, of course.
um, well, let me start with my passion.
Yes, that's what I
Mm.
want you to talk about because then you
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. I would advise parents, whether you're single or you're married, flood your children, especially your young children from their babies. Flood them with books. Read to them every single day at different points in the day, every day. Read to them because you may think that the child is not learning or the child is not hearing, but they
Mhm,
are.
mhm,
And the reading to them does gives them a step up, when they get into school. Don't wait to send them to daycare or to a preschool and have the school teach them their letters or whatever. You can do it at home. You can do it at home. Take your time. Dollar stores have all these things for kids. You don't have to
mhm.
spend a lot of money.
Right,
They
that
have
is true.
flashcards, letter flashcards, number flashcards, color flashcards,
Yes.
shape flashcards, all the things that children need to learn. Give them the good foundation. And when that child gets into preschool, they're at an advantage. My granddaughter,
Hmm. What's her name?
her name is Alyssa.
Okay.
She's 4.5,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, she's 5.5.
She tells you, I'm 4.5. But she's in preschool now, pre-K. She was reading when she was uh, towards the end of her third year. And the mother mentioned it to the teacher that, Alyssa is reading. But the teacher didn't do anything about it. And now Alyssa is reading to the class. So the teacher will, have her read, like they have their reading sessions, and you see
Mhm.
the children sit around, and she's sitting in the chair there reading the story to them. And she reads with expression, and, yes, no matter what the word is, she's reading it because she knows how to pronounce the
Break it
word.
up. Yes.
Yes, break it up and pronounce it. So it helps. And that her parents read to her every single night. They put letters, they put words around, all around, so that they can see the words and the letters, teach them their numbers. When I saw how involved this mother was, she's a pediatrician and she took a year off after she had that first child.
Wow.
And the things that I saw her do, I said, where were you when I was doing my dissertation? And I interviewed parents, to find out what they did at home. She would have made the ideal interviewee because she was just on top of everything.
But
She
what
taught
about
those
her
kids.
mother? She was just following Maureen. Yes, because
My
you
daughter-in-law, you know,
okay, okay, okay.
daughter-in-law, yes.
Okay. But I'm
She was
sure
following.
I'm sure your her husband sort of helped her too, you know.
Oh yes,
Because you would be, as you
he
said, you'd
read
be
to,
amazed.
yes.
Your children watch you. They do. Because sometimes even my daughter, She tells me things like when she was younger, and mommy so and so and so. They really watch us.
Oh
They
yes.
emulate
Oh yeah.
us, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But
So my advice to parents out there, whether it's mother or father, if you're a single father or a single mother or you're married, get with the program. Read to the children. Read to them and expose them to different things. You'd be surprised to know how just taking them to the park, they can do science in the park, just walking around in the park.
yes,
They
yes,
can do geography. They can do, I mean, it's so many things you can do just by talking to your child,
children, yes,
you know. But you see this thing here, it
takes
keeps
up
it,
a lot of time.
oh yes,
Mhm.
and the parents are constantly on it and forget that they have the kid
But even the
lagging
phone, there's
behind.
so many things on the phone that they can, so many,
Yes, if you
regarding
can't,
reading
if
or
you don't have what it takes, go on YouTube and find out what parents are doing,
yes,
and
yes,
do the same thing.
yes.
But
Well,
so
thank you.
that's my advice to parents.
And I'm gonna push you a little further about having twins.
Well, when my daughter-in-laws were pregnant, I would tease them that they're going to have twins. And if they want to have twins, they have to come and find out from me what to do. But
Never
that
happened
aside,
so far.
yes, they say, oh no, if I had twins, I would run away. I say, you wouldn't go anywhere because what you're going to do, you cannot turn them back, you cannot leave them behind. You have to take them with you. So patience, you just need a lot of patience.
Yes,
And
yes,
you need help. You cannot do it all by yourself. You need help. So if your husband is not one of those husbands that, are helpful, find somebody else. You may have a parent nearby to you or another relative or a friend or something, but even two babies, you need help with even two babies. You
I
need help.
remember when I was a
Seek help.
midwife. When I was a midwife in England, I used to specialize in twins.
Really?
I said, breast is the best. I used to walk around with a thing. Breast is the best, right? And I remember when I see these twins coming, they used to just call me because I specialize. I get them comfortable, let them feed at the same time. That
Hmm.
was my thing, feed them at the same time. But and I really enjoyed it. Pillows and
Hmm.
but yeah,
I had to do that
really,
with Marlon and Wentworth when we came home. The very day we came home, when the car drove into the carport,
yes.
they decided to start to cry and they bawled. And I had to put the two of them on the breast at at the same
Yes.
time.
Yes. It's just a
Yeah.
technique that you have to have,
Oh yes,
They
yes,
fed at the
yes.
same time, they go to sleep at the same time. Well, thank you so much for sharing. What about you, Pastor?
My advice is always recognize what God is doing for you and be grateful.
Yes.
A life of gratitude makes a world of difference. And
Yes.
it doesn't matter where you were. I was born in a cane field and I ended up having a doctorate and getting all kinds of recognitions around. So no matter where you begin, God can do something for you. And there's something special about the Seventh day Adventist Church. And one of my friends, Dr. S. Peter Campbell, did his dissertation on how being an Adventist encourages you to proceed academically. And that was the basis, that was his dissertation. And he
Mm,
has a doctorate based on
wow.
that. And I was able to look at that and see that my life would have been different had I not become a Seventh day Adventist. So that's part of the reason why I'm proud to be a Seventh day Adventist, or why I gave my entire life to serving in that regard. And as a man, men are different from women, and we have to recognize that and understand that. And if there are any men listening here, they don't think exactly the same way we do. And sometimes they think better than we do. And we have to
Amen.
recognize that. Otherwise, you are going to miss out. There's a reason that God gave father and mother for children. There are some things the father cannot do, as well as the mother. And some things the mother cannot do as well as the father. But when we're together as a team, everything goes well.
Yes.
And thank God because of what He has done for each of us individually before we met and since we met. It's going 54 years now, and we are still here treading on together.
Yes.
So I'm happy for the opportunity to share my little piece of the story and to say, look, no matter what is happening, I've been through rough times,
Yeah.
as I've already mentioned, but
Mhm.
God has always been there. And if you trust Him, He's going to take care of you.
Yes. And thank you so much, the both of you, for coming and sitting down and just being relaxed and just sharing just sharing your story. I
Mhm.
really
You're
I
welcome.
feel very privileged to sit here and to be able to facilitate that for you all. And I'm sure others looking on, listening on, has learned a lot about you and love. When you get to know people where they're coming from, there's just something, it bonds you closer to them,
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
really does. So
Yeah.
I'm sure many people are going to be calling you and saying, that was a great testimony when we broadcast it.
Mhm.
All right. So for now, we're saying bye bye until. Take care. Love you. What a wonderful interview that was. Part one and part two. Beautiful, lovely people. Humble. I always use that word because I can't find another word. When I meet humble people, I just know they're humble. And those two, Maureen and Orlando, are very humble people. They've accomplished so much, have helped so many people, and I was so glad to be able to interview them today. My thought, I've chosen one from Michelle Obama. And she said, "You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversary is actually one of your biggest advantage." And I always like to read. Let me read again. You should never view your challenges as a disadvantage. Instead, it's important for you to understand that your experience facing and overcoming adversary is actually one of your biggest advantage. Thank you so much for being here and for listening. Until I see you next time. Thank you.